just subscribed to this channel, and it seems the majority of what you do is bitch and moan about commenters.
Well, I don't know about that. We get a lot of commenters who bring in some really amazing tips and tricks about recording and mixing. Please let us know when you'd like to contribute one. Hey everybody, it is Friday. Hope you're gonna have an amazing weekend. I don't know what's going on with your lockdown situation. I'm doing this episode a couple weeks in advance so I can do other shit like tutorials and that kind of stuff and hang out with you guys on the Discord. If you haven't hit the fucking subscribe button, please hit the fucking subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. And I would really like to get to 400,000 subscribers as soon as possible because that would just really make my fucking day. Anyway, let's get right to it, shall we?
Glenn hasn't made any hit records with mainstream bands. No fucking shit. One of the main themes of this channel is to show people how to record the right way with all the sample replacement, time alignment, pitch correction, etc. that has been making modern rock and metal so boring, sanitized, and robotic. Why would you want to hear from a producer-engineer that makes a dime a dozen major label sound? Sorry for the rant.
Oh, no need to be sorry, Patrick. I really do appreciate the vote of confidence. I'm glad somebody gets the whole thing. I think you might have a point there, is that I'm not somebody claiming to be a chart-topping record producer who's going to let you sound like the pros. I'm more into the kind of, hey, you know what? Go find your own thing kind of philosophy. Here's the basics. Here's how to make cool sounds. Now, have at it and go find your own thing. And the thing I've always stressed is harmony, especially with singers. That's a great way to get bands to sound the same. That and not using the same fucking drum samples that everybody else is using. I mean, come on. Use your imagination, people. I remember sitting down with a friend of mine's band a couple of years ago and listening to their stuff. They're like, check their stuff out. I'm like, cool. Sounds like everything else out there. He's like, oh, but we got to keep up with the competition. Why? Why do you have to do what everybody else is doing? Find your own thing. Be your own thing. Slate drums are great. Get good drums are great. Stop using them. Everybody else is. Find your own sound. It's really not that hard. All you got to do is turn off the enhancement.
Metal is boring now because everything you need to know to make and record music is dissected, analyzed, and easily accessible. There's no mystery in music anymore. No one is making an effort to discover their own setup and sound anymore.
That's because everybody is too chicken shit to turn off the drum samples and the auto-tune and the time alignment. Nobody wants to do that anymore. I did a record a couple years ago with a band, I'm not mentioning who. We did all the drums here and they wanted to go for that big organic sound that I like to do and really make the band sound the same. And they took the record to be mixed elsewhere. And what did the engineer do? Time aligned the drums and replaced everything with samples. And I promised him I wouldn't call his name out on the show. So yes, you're gonna dodge a bullet here. But I told him straight up, I said, if the band had wanted that sound, they would have done that from the beginning. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean it's right. And it's certainly not going to make it, quote unquote, better. Find your own thing. Do your own thing. Find your own sound. And to do that, you turn off the bullshit.
Hey Glenn, what do you think of people quitting their job to become a full-time YouTuber? I think you realize, like most of us, that YouTube should not be counted on as a reliable source of income. It pains me anytime I hear someone quit their job because they think they are a YouTube star and don't realize that their success is most likely a flash in the pan that will burn out within 24 to 36 months. Your thoughts and insights, please.
Wow, man, that one really hits close to home. I mean, like, I'm extremely fortunate. I've been doing YouTube seriously since the summer of 2014, so I'm thinking a little bit over that. And a lot of you guys have stuck with me since the very early days, and for that, I am absolutely and truly grateful. This is the cool thing about my show. As long as, you know, there's cool gear to check out and stupid musicians to make fun of, I can't see the show ending anytime soon. You know, if you guys get bored with this, let me know. I'll go find new shit to make and try and explore some new things. Because I definitely want to keep you guys entertained. It's been my honor and privilege to do this show, and I would very much like to continue that. Now, here's the opposite of that. As a guy who's had a background in manufacturing for 25 years, let me tell you, the 9-to-5 work in a factory job isn't a reliable thing anymore either. I remember having this discussion with my parents a couple years ago when I was talking about possibly going YouTube full-time. My mom just about had a heart attack and she couldn't believe it because that's how we're brought up, you know? Go through school, get a job, work in the factory, retire and die. And for the longest time, that's what worked. But here in the Windsor area, especially where there are a lot of manufacturing jobs and a lot of feeder plants, everything is shut down because of the virus. And one of the major auto manufacturers is losing a shift, and that's going to be a lot of jobs. So I'd say YouTube is probably just about as stable as those manufacturing jobs are these days. And if you're in the States, it's even worse because there's no real labor protections. They've gone out of their way to get rid of a lot of the laws that used to help unions exist. Now it's incredibly difficult for that to happen. And there have been studies that show where there are unions, that usually means not only better for the companies, but it's also better for the workers as well in terms of wages, benefits, quality of life, all that sort of thing. Nothing is for sure anymore. So if you have a chance to go do YouTube and if you have any kind of success at it, you know what? My hat's off to you. Good for you. Fucking go for it. Try it out. You know, it can't be any worse than spending your life stamping cans for 8 to 12 hours a fucking day going out of your mind.
Yo, Glenn, I know this is totally a beginner question, but what is the purpose of a compressor?
Well, hey, Griffin, I always welcome the newbie questions. Thank you so much for asking. I hope you're subscribed to the channel, and if not, make sure you hit that fucking button. It really helps out. A compressor is simply a device that turns a volume down really quickly. What the whole idea is, we can turn the loud parts of a signal down, like the yelling bits, to something where they're a lot quieter, and then we can turn the overall volume up in proportion to that. So it's amplitude. It's loud parts versus soft parts. Turn the loud parts down, then turn everything up. This creates what's called headroom. Now, if you want a little bit more information on that, please check out my video. I'm going to put a link up here called How to Use a Compressor, and I break it down for noobs and put it into very simple to understand terms. And there's nothing wrong with asking that question. I mean, like, I asked the exact same question from an engineer years and years ago in the early 90s. I'm like, well, what's it do? And he just gave me a blank stare. You know, so yes, please go check the video out. I'm more than happy to help out.
Hey Glenn, you probably won't read this, but I want to ask you to have any advice for young bands, musicians 13 to 16. I'm a teenager, but I'm in a band that somehow still can't find a bassist, and because we're all young, none of us are particularly knowledgeable about the music industry.
Well, the best advice I can say is practice. Study your ass off, throw yourself into it, and let it become your life. Make music a priority. Make that a priority over other activities like video games or things that are going to waste your time. If you want to be a musician, be a musician. I understand, you know, finding bandmates can be really tough. I remember it was impossible for me to find a bass player in high school as well. I never actually played with a real live bass player until I got to college. So next couple of years are going to be tough, man. But then again, you've got social media. You've got Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all that. All you got to do is reach out on a couple of forums and say, hey, does anybody in the area play bass? Would you like to form a band? That's usually a cool way to do it. Another thing to do is maybe go to a local community center if they're doing shows with local bands. Get involved in your scene that way. Either, you know, volunteer and help haul cable or set shit up. If you get involved with your local scene, you'll wind up meeting people, and that's usually the way how bands are formed. Good luck to you, dude. Just remember, the trick is to try and keep trying.
Glenn, do you have any life philosophies?
One I've had for quite a while, and the second one's a little more recent, but I'd still tend to agree with it, is first and foremost, try and learn something new every single day. And the second one, and I picked this up from Warren Hewitt, so I will give a nod to my very good friend from England, and that is beware the experts and be wary of the people who claim they know everything. I've been doing this for 25 years, but I'm no expert. I can only talk and share my experiences from what I've learned. But believe me, I feel like I've just scratched the surface when it comes to audio engineering, and I'm more than happy when new information comes in and I can get better at my craft. And speaking of getting better at the craft, I highly recommend checking out my friend Scott from Chernobyl Studios, his new lesson, Guitar Tone Mastery. If you're working with amp sims and you want to learn how to dial it in and get the sounds that you're after, not necessarily sounding like everybody else, but get something really awesome and develop a workflow that's going to help you get great sounds quickly. Check out Guitar Tone Mastery. It helped me out huge, and it's definitely going to help you guys out as well. I can't recommend it enough. It's going for only $97. We knocked $100 off the original price of $197. Definitely recommend checking it out. Links in the description below. Now back to the show.
So Glenn, how long have you known Stephen Terryberry? Saw he featured you in his Ramones video.
I met Steve a couple of years ago at the OEArt get-together. That was with myself, Steve, Sarah Longfield, Jared Dines, who else was there? Adam Neely, and of course, Tyler from Music Is Win. And who's on drums? I think Cam Fleury was on drums on that one. No, Jared was on drums on that one. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we've done a couple of events there. That's where I met Steve originally. And yeah, Steve's a hoot. He's a lot of fun to hang out and just an awesome dude. I've actually gone over to his house a couple times. As a matter of fact, he lives not very far from the area where I grew up when I was a young lad. And so it's kind of cool to drive up there, go see some of the old neighborhoods, and go hang out with Steve. Honestly, we both said this, if we'd gone to grade school together, we probably would have been best friends. I don't know what it is, but yeah, me and him just get along great, like best buddies from like when we were 5 years old or something ridiculous like that. Always a hoot hanging out with Steve. He's a monster talent. And he asked me, hey, you want to mix this? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'd be thrilled to. So thanks very much to Mr. Terryberry for including me in that Ramones video. That was an awful lot of fun. And if you guys haven't checked it out, please check out Steve's video, How to Be the Ramones. And thanks to Jackson Ward for playing drums on it.
Hey Glenn, have you ever thought about doing a video on hiring session drummers for tracking real drums? I keep hearing about services like Fiverr and SoundBetter being a good platform, but I wondered if you had any experience with them. You might even do a video demoing some of your favorite drummers you recommend. I, for one, would love to pay an actual talented drummer to replace all the damn robo drums in my music, and I'm sure I'm not the one thinking this, it's just a thought.
Alex, that's a fantastic idea. I'm totally going to do that show. I'm going to get 5 drummers from Fiverr and see what I get. Now, I've been extremely fortunate. I've been working with Jackson Ward for the last year or so. He's been contributing a lot of the drums for the show. He records them at his home studio, and he wanted me to let you guys know that he is available for hire if you want him appearing in your music, and he'll do video work as well of him playing the drums for music video work. Follow the link in the description below if you want to check out some of Jackson's stuff. I can't say enough good things about him. He's one of the most talented drummers I've ever had the pleasure of working with, and he makes stellar drum recordings that are very easy to mix. So definitely check him out.
Hey, this contest is a great idea, but wouldn't it make more sense if every guitar player would play the same piece of music instead of different tunes? I'm afraid my decision will rather be based off the particular riffs and not on the sound of the amp sims. Just throwing in some ideas, and fuck you, Glenn.
Well, the reason we didn't do it like that with the Lancaster Tone Wars series is because we didn't want to bore the living shit out of the viewer. I mean, can you imagine 5 or 7 guys just playing the same riff over and over and over? I mean, come on. Let the musicians express themselves. Maybe we'll hear something cool. I've definitely got a couple of favorites so far in that series. And if you haven't checked out Tone Wars, please do. We let everybody loose with the Ignite Emissary amp sim and just said, go write a piece of music using the Lancaster impulse responses and see what tones you can come up. And believe me, we got some really cool stuff.
Yo, Glenn, got any ideas on how to combine 2 audio interfaces together like a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 and an 18920 to use multiple mics? Thanks a lot. Fucking love your channel, mate, and your videos are entertaining. Cheers.
Well, there's several different methods you could do. I don't know about a 2i2, but you can usually link different interfaces together via ADAT. The 2i2 does not have an ADAT, unfortunately. Now, if you're on the Mac system, this is one thing I really like about Mac over the PC, is that you can create what's known as an aggregate device, and you can run 2 interfaces at the same time. They don't even have to be from the same brand, and I think that's absolutely amazing. And I'm going to be doing that digitally on something extremely cool coming in because I don't have the proper digital connection for it yet. Anyway, maybe I should help my friends at Focusrite for that. We'll see. Anyway, you guys are definitely going to want to check out that episode. It's going to be freaking amazing. I signed a little bit of paperwork the other day, and I can't wait for that fucker to come in. It's really exciting stuff. If you're PC-based, the problem with ASIO drivers is you can't run more than one sound card into Windows and have it recognize them both. And that totally blows. You can run them together via ADAT or AES or some kind of digital connection like that, but Windows can't see both of the sound cards. I don't understand the reasoning for that. It certainly wasn't for convenience, that's for sure. And I think that's one area where Windows really needs to improve. So I don't know if anybody at Microsoft works in the multimedia end of the department that might be watching this show, but I would definitely love to talk to somebody there and say, hey, why don't we fix this? Because it's a bit of a fucking nightmare.
Glenn, do you like any artists outside of metal?
Yes, of course. I mean, what's not to like? I mean, like a lot of classic rock. The first concert I ever went to was Beatlemania. I love listening to Steely Dan mixes because Roger Nichol was a fucking genius and they sound great. I like some Zappa. I listen to some jazz every now and then. I'll listen to pretty much anything as long as it's cool, you know, as long as there's some energy there and is played with passion. Yeah, I can definitely get into just about anything. Honestly, I've been getting into a lot of Japanese stuff just because it's so different from Western music as well, and I find that to be a lot of fun.
Sorry to be dumb and ask, what's a Discord and what does it entail? I'm not computer savvy.
Hey, David, there's no dumb questions. There's only dumb answers. Unless it's a bass player asking, then they're all dumb questions. Seriously, Discord was originally created for gamers so they could talk to each other while doing massively multiplayer online role players like my wife does like every fucking day. But Discord has evolved into an online hangout, and in my case, we have an SMG Discord where fans of the show can hang out and help each other out with their records and whatnot. It's a wonderful community, and it's a lot of fun to hang out on, and I'm usually in there every morning that I've got a video release coming out, so if you want to hang out, ask some questions, that kind of thing, yeah, join my Discord. I'll have a link to that in the description below. Again, everybody's welcome. It's an awful lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys in there.
Greetings from Estonia. I know you hate samples, but what if a drummer from a band goes to the studio, records his own samples, and later uses them on a project? Mine per se, Glenn.
Well, I guess that's a little bit better than using the same sample set everybody else is using, so cheers for at least using a bit of imagination.
Hey Glenn, due to some misfortune, I'm looking to get an inexpensive recording rig and was wondering what your thoughts were on the Apple Complete Recording Studio with Mac Mini that they're selling at places like Guitar Center for $9.99. Is it actually a good deal or just a scam to sell shit computers that can't cut the mustard?
That is a fantastic question. Maybe I should do a Fearless Gear review on one of those. What do you guys think? You want to see me do a Mac Mini review that's made for audio production? I want to know. If you guys really want to see that, make sure you get on my Patreon and contribute to the Fearless Gear reviews, because that's all fan-funded, and I try and do as many of those as I possibly can, but it does rely on you guys. Still, though, I think that would be a cool episode to check out. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. I want to hear from you.
Bias, not worthless. You can learn a thing or two from Steve Albini about giving freedom and not trying to force your artist into your personal preference and letting their art be the way they want 100%. If they bust out the Digitech, just say, hey, are you sure you want to do that? It's not going to sound more rich on this piece of equipment. Your mix on your videos, however, has been amazing.
Funny you mentioned that. I remember I had a guitar player come in with this weird Digitech box, or no, it was actually a Zoom, just this cheap thing. But it had this weird arpeggiator thing on the guitar, and I'm like, cool, let's mic it up, let's see what we can do. Just, getting it to run through one of my amps was kind of tricky, but we eventually made it work. I've usually got a problem with guitar players bringing shit guitars, that aren't even soldered together. They just got the wires twisted together. That's when I usually cringe at letting the guitar players play their own instruments, or ones that won't stay in tune, that kind of shit. Just practical stuff like trying to move the project forward. If somebody brings in a total piece of crap that's going to stall out the project, I'll usually say, hey, I've got something over here that's actually ready to record. Let's try that instead of the piece of shit you brought. That's more where that comes from. But if a guitar player wants to come in with something cool and crazy, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's mic it up. Let's try it out. I remember bringing some drummers in with these crazy bells and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's mic it up. Let's see what we can do. I'm all about trying new shit. I'm all about trying out the toys and ideas and all that kind of stuff. I just don't like to work with crap, that's all. Okay, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for hitting that fucking subscribe button. And if you haven't yet, why haven't you? Seriously, I need your help. Anyway, I hope everybody has an amazing weekend, and please check out Guitar Tone Mastery if you want to get better guitar sounds out of your amp sims. I really can't say enough good things about this lesson. It is totally worth the asking price. Anyway, until next time, stay home, wash your hands, stay safe, and I'll see you guys again real soon. Thanks so much, and as always, take care. See you later. Goodbye.